Well, today is the big day. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and get ready for the next generation of Wargame. And from the makers of Wargame European Escalation, Wargame Air Land Battle, and Wargame Red Dragon comes a brand new franchise. From Eugen Systems, it's WARNO, or Warning Order. Here we see troops from NATO and the Warsaw Pact fighting against each other in Europe, which will hopefully be a big brand new game in the style of Wargame, but of course for legal purposes they have to call it something else, the publishers owning the rights to the other titles and whatnot. So this is a great opportunity. Rather than fighting over the legality of whatnot of getting the Wargame title back, why not make a fresh new franchise similar to Kojima ending his work on the Metal Gear Solid series and making a brand new game of Death Stranding? Eugen now has the same opportunity to take all their skills and lessons learned from making all the other Wargame titles and other games such as Active Aggression and whatnot and bring them into a brand new title. Though there'll be a lot of the same flavor of Wargame, which is obviously what we all want, no, this is actually a great opportunity to make something new and to have it function much differently than the Wargame series. WARNO coming soon. Get ready. Again, early access, January 20th, 2022. So I'm bringing the trailer with me today. Let's watch the trailer for Warning Order.
This morning he was informed 2 American fighter planes had engaged a pair of Soviet-made MiGs controlled by his arch-enemy.
To grow. Now, several days ago, I received...
Welcome to Viewer's Choice. Your selection is about
discussion at a conference in Paris.
craft often come out to take a look at U.S. operations.
Fresh chicken makes the best chicken.
MiG-23s approached in a hostile manner.
Well, that certainly was the right music for that trailer. And speaking of trailers, these are the types of things that give us more questions than answers when we watch something like this. For example, with this being early access on the 20th of January, do we get access to things outside of Europe? Will there be other factions? Do we get to go to Asia, North America, etc., etc.? This being a whole new title from Eugen Systems means that the sky is the limit for going outside the box of just the standard Cold War, though I am very happy that it looks a lot like Wargame in terms of how it's functioning. The graphics look beautiful and whatnot, and the appearance looks great, but it definitely does play like a Wargame-like game. It looks like footage from Wargame Red Dragon in its appearance of how the units seem to be functioning, but the graphics look like they're stepped up a bit too, which is fantastic. Though, with Eugen Systems making this, the expectations here are high, and with other games coming out like Broken Arrow, how are they going to differentiate this from the Wargame series, and how are they going to deal with competition? Well, I think that since they're the masters of continuously stepping it up, as they did from Air Land Battle, well, European Escalation, all the way through Wargame Red Dragon, they've continuously added new things, including aircraft and eventually naval ships to that. But how will WARNO step up and surpass the expectations of a Wargame 4, and again compete with things like Broken Arrow and other games that may come along, other real-time strategy games. Well, I also want to see a lot of customization in this game. Now, I think the deck system will be present here, as it's going to also be present in other games that will be coming out in the next year as well. And the ability to customize your army and take certain units makes for a different experience every time you play with people or against people. And that's another thing I want to see in multiplayer, is different experiences outside of a deck system, such as many more game modes. For example, in the Wargame series, we got Destruction and Conquest, which were more about points either by destroying enemy vehicles or capturing positions on the map. So, how will WARNO function differently? Will we have to capture objectives on the map and use those for income points, or will there be some other system? Will we have to gather resources or capture more strategic points that are actually strategic rather than just a certain area? Will there be a bridge that we have to capture, similar to how it was in World in Conflict, where you'd have to actually capture strategic points like, again, bridge crossings or beaches or highways, that type of thing. And that's something I really hope to expect, or rather that I expect. My hopes, though, are a wonderful campaign from WARNO. Wargame European Escalation had a very interesting campaign and good narration, and that kind of got pushed to the side for more of a dynamic campaign, though it still had many different missions to it. For example, the North versus South Korea campaign, where then eventually you can invade North Korea in Wargame Red Dragon, and also, of course, the grand strategy map of moving around, like, for example, the Korean Peninsula, and moving units there in Wargame. I would definitely want to see that here. But because we're now in Europe, that means that we might be able to see anything. This is not just the end-all be-all. This is just a teaser trailer, so keep in mind some secrets and some other things coming in January might be revealed between now and then. We're almost less than a month away. If you're watching this trailer a few days later, that means we've got less than a month to wait for early access, and I would really want to see what they have in store. I hope there's more announcements and whatnot. So again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do, and turn on that notification bell, because anytime we get early access to play, or anytime that there's news, I want to share it here. And this is a game to keep an eye on, because again, Eugen Systems had made such fantastic games in the past in terms of these larger strategy games, and grand strategy too. It's a perfect mix, and I don't think any other game has even attempted to come close. And even when looking at games like Broken Arrow, I have a feeling that Broken Arrow is going to be more like World in Conflict, and I'm hoping for that game. But I really think that those two games this year are going to be burger and fries. I'm very excited. I think they're going to go together wonderfully, and I hope that a lot of RTS gamers choose both games, because both styles are going to be very exciting on their different scales. So hopefully we see an abundance of customization. Hopefully we see a dynamic campaign and a linear campaign, user-made missions, map editing, dynamic weather systems where perhaps visibility will change with the, with weather that could rain and lower the visibility of troops or whatnot. No real sight of infantry or anything just yet, but it's obvious that they're going to have to put that in if they're showing things like the Bradley and other types of transports. So I'm very excited. Eugen is continuously making new stuff, though keeping it to tradition. So the big difference between European Escalation and Air-Land Battle was that they included aircraft, and that changed the game tremendously. And then with Wargame Red Dragon, they ended up going to Asia and also including naval, and that was massive too. So the big question is, how is WARNO going to differ, and what surprises can we expect between now and its eventual release after its early access in January 20th, 2022? Well, that's all my time for today. I'm excited. I hope you are too, and I will see you all next time. I guess wishlist this on Steam if you haven't. Dino Man out.